This is Recruitment Agency Ignition with Andy Whitehead. Helping you build your recruitment employment business fast. Using digital and automation and one-to-many systems, tools, and inbound strategies.
So guys, today we're going to do a accelerator session. What does that mean? I want us to focus on your constraint right now. So the first thing I want you to do is this. I want you to look at your business, and the first thing I want you to do first of all is recognize this. You're at point A. So you're here right now. So in March 2019, we're here at point A. We're at point A. Now we know that our business comes down to three key drivers. We've got you, your role, we've got our systems, our automation, our strategies, and we got your team. So I want you to look at where you are right now first of all, point A. But I want you to be real with yourself. At point A right now, your revenue figure or your profit figure, whatever is best for you, what is your figure right now? So it could be a monthly figure, it could be a quarterly figure, it could be a yearly figure. What's your figure right now? It's 200K a year. It's 2 million a year. But then I want you to look at where you want to get to. So you might want to get to, say, 500K in the next 12 months. Great. So in the next 120 days, where do you want to get to? So if we're going to break our year into three windows, at this point, pro rata, what are we looking at? Do you want to be at 350 by here? Money we've got coming in? Or no, we got a candidate place and we're getting our payment in 60 days? Is it 350? What does it look like for you? So point A and point B, but this constraint here, what is going to stop us in the next 120 days? So we're talking about March, April, May, June. So June, July, what's going to stop us hitting this target, whatever that is? So when you think about where you are now, make it a revenue, monetary, tangible, cash, whatever term you want to use. Where are you now? And where do you want to be in 12 months? Which in turn, where do you want to be in 120 days, in a third of the year? What's that figure going to be? So in this case, we got a gap of 150. And that's the constraint I want us to focus on. I don't want to focus on in the year, I want to focus on the next 120 days. So when we get together, this is your plan for the next 120 days. You're going to do just this strategy. These are the KPIs you must focus on. These are your metrics. We've overcome these objections, or rather constraints in this case. If we do this, this is on. So I want you to look at that figure and see what that jump is. So it could be 100K, it could be 500, whatever your number is. It could be 50K. So in the next 120 days, I want you to have a figure. Number one, what is that figure? What is the figure? In the next 120 days. Then number two, I want you to be really pessimistic. And again, look at yourself, your role in the business, your role, systems, the automation, and your team. Three core drivers. What's going to prevent you or stop us hitting that 150K? What's going to stop us? So for some of you, you know it's you. For others of you, it's going to be just getting this automation working. There could be multiples, but what's the constraint that's going to stop us? So I want you to find that, and you might want to do one for each. One for you, one for the actual systems, the automation, the leads, the authority, and one for team. Or you might just have one. There's one core thing. If you can get this on point. So for my team, we spoke about the candidate process. So in the candidate process, what's the constraint? What's going to stop us? So I want us to be, for a couple of hours, I want us to be pessimistic, negative. This is why this damn thing's not going to happen. That's why I'm designed to fail. What's going to stop us from hitting it? So that constraint, there might be one, it might be a few. What I always do is do this. Really important. So my constraint is X. So my constraint is I need more candidates. My constraint is my time. So what is your constraint? But then I want you to actually make it into a question that I can help you with, a question where we can give you an answer. I need more candidates, okay? What's the actual question? So make it into a question. There might be two questions, absolutely cool. So my constraint is X. So for me to add 150K in the next 120 days, my key constraint is X. My specific question is bum, bum, bum. Make sure you got the figure. My 12-month figure is X. In the next 120 days, it needs to be Y. And the main thing to stop me getting there is going to be this. And my question is this. So the constraint in this first box will be a different constraint. So for example, I'm going to get Chris on the call in a minute. Chris has got a constraint around client leads in the contract market and maybe the perm market. So the constraint now is, how do we get these leads in? So that might be the key constraint right now. The second window, the constraint might be, they're not converting. I'm getting all these leads in, they're not converting. Then the next constraint might be, got that fixed, I need candidates. Now, we don't want it to take a year, of course not. But what I want to make sure we do is we focus on one constraint or one key area at a time and smash it. So if we go back to our model, which is we build an asset, we leverage the asset, and then we scale. Getting the asset in place means ensuring we've got these constraints fixed, not papering over the cracks. So your constraint is always going to move, guys. It will always move. You'll never be done. You'll never be happy. If your target is to get to 600K, you're doing 300K now. Once you get to 450, 500, you're already looking at 750, and you will not stop and celebrate 600. It's how we're built. However, how you've got there will give us the indication of how you take the next step. But what I want us to do is focus on what we must get destroyed to ensure when we get into this next 120-day sprint, we got that done. We've got the constraint covered off. Okay, guys, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to unmute Chris Roper. Hey, Chris, you there?
Hi there, Andy.
Good. So, Chris, so first of all, in terms of what we've just discussed there, Chris, so obviously we've got a little bit of background on where you are right now from Tracy. In terms of what your biggest constraint is, and the specific question, what would it be if we frame it in that way?
I think my biggest constraint at the moment is not having enough clients to work with at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Or I would say quality of clients at the moment. Okay,
so let's do this then. First off, so just a couple of notes. Double R isn't in a circle. It's an initial strategy to get traction. Okay, it's not how to run a recruitment business. Really, really important. Just everyone gets that. Number one. Number two, LinkedIn isn't everything. Bringing different elements together is what we need to do. So for those who've referenced clients and candidates, pretty much all of you referenced double R, or you referenced LinkedIn, and that's absolutely cool. However, your candidates may not be on LinkedIn, JP. Your candidates may not be attuned to using a strategy like double R, Phil G, we will come to. But first of all, we're going to go through a set of questions here, which are going to be in some ways basic, but I think for lots of you, they're going to be pretty much on point. And I think even the guys which are doing big numbers, what we see in the Nitro group, is back to basics is key. So if we look at what we got here then, so if we say the constraint is you need more clients, okay? And if we actually break it down into a specific question, Chris, so you need more clients, what's the actual question that we want to get an answer to? What would it be?
I suppose when I'm putting through double R, sometimes I question how good the quality of the clients I'm putting through. So I'm not always convinced which ones are in charge of recruiting, and I think that's where I'm using a new template now, which is very specific in identifying who it is that would be recruiting. But I think sometimes I look at the metrics, and like I had some old data that we had from our old sort of database before I started scraping LinkedIn and that sort of stuff, and sometimes I look at the the metrics and they don't look good, and I'm not the template. I'm not explaining it right. Yeah, I'm not convinced how good the quality of the data that I'm putting through.
Okay, so the quality of data then. So what we're doing here then is we think about what we got as a process, and so we got our leads coming in, step one. Then we got a conversion process, i.e., we talk to the client or candidate, and then we got delivery. We deliver the candidate. So you're questioning the quality of the data here, aren't you? Right up front. So we're creating the data, we're getting the data, put through double R, and we're saying, well, actually not totally certain. So that might do two things. One, create a bit of procrastination, and then two, it's going to make sure, well, probably mean that the volume goes down. Does that make sense? So in this case, what we need to be doing is we need to get a bit of traction happening. Okay, a bit of traction. So step one is get it moving, get them through. But then step two is we do need to clean up. We need to identify who's your best client or who is the right client for you. So then we add a filtering process. We had a filtering process. So now we're starting to get a bit more advanced. Or we got a world-class CAS as like a Ken will use, and then we might come back to them and we respond to them and say refer to page 10.3, etc. So we can add these filtering steps. However, we're literally almost at starting point, aren't we? We're getting this moving. So we can move this and we can add, moving forward, add them booking into your diary a little bit later too. So we book into your diary, and when you book into your diary, they complete an audit. So we can then start to run a questioning process. And those you want to speak to, you speak to. And those that you don't, you cancel, and they get an automated message. And then they can go into a nurturing campaign. So we can add these different layers. But what we need to do is identify where we are right now, which is that point A. Does that make sense? Yep. So that point A where we are now is about getting the volume, but also getting the filtering process moving as we go through those first steps. But these other elements, the filtering, the booking to diary, we can add these bit by bit. So you've done some work now then on putting leads through, and we've got some base metrics as things stand. What are those metrics that we've got? So you and I have spoken about this briefly. Those metrics from, i.e., you found roles which are open, haven't you? So you found roles which are open, and we got, I think, 1,800 of those. And then we got a set of contacts for potential clients which are, well, passive. We don't know whether they're hiring or not right now. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yep. So what we want to be able to do is, essentially, we just want to get your inbox buzzing. That's our first outcome. Get it buzzing. The second thing would be, very rapidly, the same part of the process almost, is we want to add a filtering point into that inbox. So we can have 100 people coming in a day. But if we've done step one, we've got the right target market, which you have, but we're not certain who's hiring, who's not, who's contract, who's perm. Then we get our inbox buzzing. Then we've got a filtering. So the filtering process might be use of the CAS. It might be they complete an audit. It might be go back with a set of questions. But the first step is we need to get your inbox bigger with more activity. Does that make sense? So before we get even into getting ultra segmented and ultra targeted, making sure the data is all completely clean. Because think about this worst case. If a client comes back to you and it's not a fit for you, hey, Mr. Client, Mr. Steve, right now we're fully maxed in area ABC, but I'd love to have a integration call with you, infrastructure call in 90 days. How's about the 1st of July? We're getting the diary. So even if the wrong people come back right now, it's not the end of the world. But what we need to do is make sure we've got that volume happening and your inbox buzzing. Does that make sense? And then what your VA can do, your VA can then clean up that data and start to segment it. But if we take the view, we want to make sure it's all perfect up front, but we don't know what perfect is. We don't know who's hiring. We don't know who is contract totally, who's perm totally. So let's, number one, get the lead flow moving. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Objections to doing that in terms of getting that moving?
No.
So if we think about what will happen.
I just think what I don't do, Andy, I'll be honest, I don't measure the amount that's coming back and sort of conversations I have with people, because it's just kind of 100 miles an hour. It's just doing what you can, because being on your own. So I don't. If you ask me what's my conversion rate with clients, and I'll be honest, I don't have it. I don't measure it. I just try and take on as many clients as I can, and yeah, that's as far as it goes.
So we thanks for being so direct. So we need to bit by bit start to get this control, don't we? So we know what we've got going on. So so that first step then is we need to get the leads moving. And what should be happening is every single day, let's say, for example, every single day we've got 500 leads going through a RRR campaign. And every single day we're connecting with 100 clients on LinkedIn, okay?
No, I'll be honest, I'm doing all the LinkedIn myself. And I part of it's my fault. I don't trust the VA to kind of hand it over to him properly. There's a few things I don't. There's a lot of things he does well, but there's a lot of stuff I'm still having to do manually myself because I can't hand it over to him yet. And obviously that's my issue. I've got to get over, I think.
So that needs to change. That VA side of thing needs to change, which we'll come back to, okay? So that's going to be a huge constraint for you. In terms of the actual running of RRR, the VA runs that for you, do they?
No, I do that as well, Andy.
Jeez, no wonder Chris.
Yeah, no, you know what it is? He sends me the data, and I've just got to go over it with a fine tooth comb because a lot of the time it's as like the template says as and with their job title and then at company name, and I just need to. He cleans it again, but I still need to go over it. Even the live leads he sends, I still need to. They're just not perfect, and maybe they shouldn't be perfect. But if I was the one receiving the email, it needs to be perfect because it looks so obvious that it's a little section that it's like that I'm putting it through like a system like this, like an automation tool.
So it's you can't function like that, Chris. It's going to kill you. And the same with RRR and the data. We need to get your VA upskilled. So one of two things. Who's your VA with?
It's with Talent Inbox.
So you've got one of two options. One is you continue with the VA and get them upskilled, or you go with someone else. Okay, but
do you find that though? And I think a lot of people, I think that they're good at using the tools. There's not an issue there. They're very knowledgeable when it comes to the operating it. But it's the small details, like the actual. I don't know if it's a communication thing, but like the actual, I don't know, a capital letter here or just small little things. That's all it is with it. That's the only thing I can't kind of. I've got to make sure the data's perfect for.
Yeah, so this goes back to our training with the VA. We did a session in Nitro about the communication process with the VA, which we share with Ignition, actually, thinking about it. This is where, if we took the time to create this, and again, it's not sexy, but to assess it, you make a quick video, literally 2-3 minute on, send it back to them. This is what you've done wrong. Right, send it back to me, and they do another 20 lines. And you've missed this one. This is why. Do another 20 lines. It's going to take a few iterations, but then it's done. And it's also a similar process to getting your inbox down to 0. But this is something that you must get off your plate. So the VA, if they can't get that right with video check-in, then it's new VA time. This is key. That's absolutely key. So are you happy to either train him or getting that new VA? And if we chase you, you're going to be cool with that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm up for that, Andy, yeah.
All right, sounds. So number one, we need to get this VA side in place.
Discover how to build your recruitment employment agency using one-to-many automation and inbound strategies before anyone else in your market specialization. Check out recruitmentmarketinginternational.com.